He is killing it in the Bellator Fighting Championship Bantamweight division. This is the man they call Supa, Raufeon Stots. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction.
You're very welcome. And so now you are 16-2, I think, right now in your MMA career, right?
16-1.
16-1. I'm so sorry. Tagging another loss,
worries.
which probably you'll never see. So that's
yeah.
Hopefully
that's the plan.
Exactly, man.
Yes,
And you're on a good streak since you had your loss. You won what, like 6 wins in a row or something?
8, I think.
Nice.
I believe. Yeah.
And
8.
you're and in Bellator, I think you're what, 4-0 now or something? 5-0?
Yes, sir. 4-0.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
And then before that, you were in the LFA. So you've got a good experience fighting with great organizations, man. You're in a very competitive weight class there. Your last win, it looks like, if we go up a little bit more, Dr. Adam Rhoda, was against Josh Hill. Before that, you beat Keith Lee. Keith Lee is well known for being the brother of Kevin Lee. I'm sure Kevin Lee from the UFC was probably in his corner. What was that fight like? Keith Lee is a tough guy, and his brother obviously has a reputation of being a tough guy. When you see a guy like that whose brother is really good, do you like give him a little bit more of a respect or benefit of the doubt that he is going to be good because his brother is that good, or do you really not even think that way?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that way. I think a lot of times when you have like guys that kind of come up under their brothers, they are they kind of can learn from the mistakes. You know, they got like firsthand experience because they're like right up under very successful people. So I feel like a lot of times they're more dangerous because they kind of if their brothers have made mistakes, they're kind of privy to that information and they can kind of make their own decisions and kind of make better decisions than the older one did, especially if they're the younger one. So I definitely took that into account. Being teammates with Sergio and Anthony, I kind of see that relationship and how they're like two different people, but also, you know what I mean? They kind of feed off or kind of learn from each other, and the relationship between like older brother and younger brother is definitely there. But it's like I feel like well, in the two cases, like the Keith Lee and the Anthony Pettis, Sergio Pettis kind of deal, the younger brothers are kind of more reserved for some reason. I don't really know why, but the two relationships of brothers fighting, I know that's kind of how it played out. So I kind of figured Keith Lee would be like not like Kevin Lee is dumb, but I figured he'd be like smarter.
Right.
Keith Lee is a smarter. Just because his brother didn't have anybody to kind of show him the ropes.
Right.
And Keith Lee has that.
Right, without a doubt. And now, other than Merab Dvalishvili, the one loss you had early in your career, would you say Keith Lee was the second toughest guy, or was it your last opponent, Josh Hill?
Yeah, the Keith Lee gave me I feel like the toughest fight.
Absolutely.
He gave me a tougher fight for sure.
Absolutely. And you think you might possibly see him somewhere down the line? You guys are both young.
Yeah, I think for sure. Keith Lee is I think I'm the only since he's moved to the camp he's at. I think he was undefeated. I think he was like 4-0 or something. And I'm the only loss he's had. And that fight was a barn burner. And he came to fight, and we both put on a show. And I just came out on top.
Absolutely. And then your fight a few months later against Josh Hill, you looked good in that one, and then other fights beating Cass Bell and just beating a lot of tough guys. And I'll tell you what, for your only loss to be early in your career against Merab, where you got caught really quick before you could even really get into the fight, that's not a bad thing, because A, it's not like you got beat down the whole time, and B, Merab is pretty much beating everyone else down the whole time that he fights them. So, that I think, definitely shows how good a fighter you are. And I'm sure somewhere down the line, even though you're in different organizations, I'm sure you'd love to get that one back if you could.
Oh, for sure. And that fight, I feel like taught me a lot, and I kind of needed it, hindsight, I needed it. And you're exactly right. I've never been like dominated. I got caught, and it happened, and I'm glad it happened early, because there's at least like or lesser likely chance of me getting caught, later on in my career. And if I could fight, I would love that fight back, if I can get that fight back. And I think I win that fight majority of the time.
Yep, I can see it. Now, without you over there in the UFC, do you think Merab is destined to be the UFC bantamweight champion?
He's got there's some tough guys there, but I wouldn't doubt he's up there top. I would say he's like top five.
Gotcha.
I'd probably give him top five.
And
Yeah.
you know, their current champion is Aljamain Sterling. I'd love to get your opinion, man, because before that controversy against Peter Yan, everyone had a lot of respect for Aljamain Sterling. He was a tough guy, the funk master. The guy had wrestling skills. The guy had striking skills. The guy was training with very tough guys like Merab and Frankie Edgar and a bunch of other guys. And it just seems like one situation where he got kneed illegally has made all kinds of people be haters. I mean, it's just crazy. and you know, and to me, a lot of these haters are the guys that are sitting around eating hamburgers, hot dogs with fat bellies, right? That don't fight anyway. So really what these kind of guys are thinking isn't that super important. But to me, it's just kind of a shame because in all honesty, Aljamain Sterling is a very, very tough guy. And I think that you get kneed like that, you're going to be hurting, and it was an illegal blow. I mean, what's your thought on that? Are you one that's very critical of Aljamain, or are you on the other side of it that you're 100% supportive of what went on there, or are you somewhere in between?
You know, the MMA community or the fan base is a fickle fan base.
Yes,
so,
yes, very
you
true.
know, like you can lose one fight and be the worst fighter. You know,
Right.
you make one bad mistake and be the worst fighter. I still have a lot of respect for Aljamain, and I kind of understand the situation he was in. You know, he took an illegal blow, and he made the right decision for his career. So I don't blame him at all. You know what I mean? I definitely feel like Peter Yan was winning that fight, and I feel like he probably knows that too. But I don't take anything away from him. I don't like discrediting any of his past accomplishments. For that one decision, which was probably better for his career. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think he made he had a team around him, but he made the right decision.
I agree. I agree. And I'll tell you one thing a lot of people aren't thinking about is Aljamain going into that fight had all the confidence in the world in his cardio, his gas tank, and in how his skills would match up against Peter Yan. And I think that he did find that his cardio started to fail, and he probably underestimated Peter Yan. So I don't think either of those things are going to happen in the rematch. And I know it's not signed yet, but I'm sure they're going to sign it. So I think a lot of people may be surprised that Aljamain.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think it was. I mean, he definitely. I mean, he thought if he could get him Peter down, or he thought he would be able to get him down easy, and he thought it'd be a pretty quick night just because Peter Yan is kind of a kickboxer. But Peter Yan showed amazing grappling, showed amazing takedown defense, and he's a strong, look like a sturdy human being.
Yes.
So that definitely surprised. I feel like Aljamain, and definitely he's gonna fight differently. The next fight. I think didn't he fight Marlon Moraes twice or maybe not?
At least once he beat him. He definitely did come. No, you're right. No, in the first fight, you know what though? He did lose to Moraes, but then I thought he may have come back and beaten him. But
I thought he beat him a second time. But I know he's gonna fight him differently, and it's gonna be a totally different fight.
Yeah.
Just because he knows those things now.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. I would not be surprised if Aljo wins, and if he wins, I wonder if he's gonna have a special message for all the haters after.
I'm sure he will.
Yep, I bet you he will. Let's talk about Bellator though. At bantamweight, is that title vacant now, or who is the champ at Bellator?
So the champion is right now my teammate Sergio Pettis.
That is right, because Pettis beat Darion. Was it Darion Caldwell or Archuleta?
He beat Archuleta, Juan Archuleta.
That's right. Okay, so that's always a challenge, man, when your teammates. I know you're over there at Duke Rufus at Rufus Sport. So what happens there? I mean, I guess most people have said I don't want to fight my teammate unless it's for the title. Is that kind of pretty much where your head's at?
Yeah, that's pretty much where my head's at. I attribute a lot of my success Sergio Pettis, and Sergio would say the same for me. So I don't want to I don't want to, fight him or take food out of his table unless it's for something,
Right. Right.
that can better my family's life. So
For sure.
that's kind of where I'm at.
How many fights away do you think you might be? Because it can't be too many. Like, I'm thinking, what, 1 or 2 more wins, 3 maybe at most.
Yeah, I think this after this fight, I should be probably the #1 contender. I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to give me another fight, and I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of want to play bodyguard for Sergio for a little bit.
Sure.
So I'm guessing well, they're talking like this fight I'll be the #1 contender. So we'll see.
Nice.
I'm open to it all. If I have to fight Sergio next, we've had conversations and we understand that's kind of how it goes.
Right.
But if not, I'm willing to take off one of these other guys.
Absolutely. Well, talking about this fight, we're talking July 31st, only about 3.5 weeks away at the Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut. You have the man, Magomedov. Man, you're 16-1. He's 18-1. I'm going to have my producer pull up Magomed's record. So he is a Dagestani guy.
Yeah.
Right? You guys are almost mirror images physically, height and weight. And then let's see what he's been doing. So he's only been in Bellator for 2 fights, and he's beaten Mateus Matos and CJ Hamilton. Otherwise, he was over at AACB, which is a pretty good fighting organization.
He beat actually Peter Yan.
That's right.
So he's the only other guy to beat Peter Yan. So,
but then he did,
and then Peter Yan beat him too. So they're 1-1, him and Peter Yan.
There you go.
I'm sure after this fight, I can have a claim to be the best bantamweight in the world. You know what I mean? So
without a doubt,
that's pretty exciting.
Without a doubt, man. And so, how's training going at Rufus Sport for this fight? And I don't want you giving away any secrets you don't want to, but who's been working with you and helping you to be ready for this Dagestani grappler with striking?
So we got, just the usual cast. I got Christian Rodriguez, who's an up-and-comer, like 5-0. I got Emmanuel Sanchez, who's also fighting July 31st against Max Burnell.
Excellent.
He's a former title challenger. And then we got, kind of a bunch of cast of guys that Brian Batista, Sergio Pettis, Anthony, who else we got? We got Emmanuel Pugh, Rico Talley. We got a bunch of guys. And I've been training kind of off and on in Nebraska too, because I'm in the process of moving to Texas, so I've been training kind of in Nebraska too.
Excellent.
So yeah.
Now the last grappler, I know Keith Lee had some grappling, but Cass Bell, wasn't he kind of a grappling strong guy?
Yeah, he had wrestling background, so he was more grappler.
Yeah, so
he might have had like even. I think he was like 5-0, and he had probably a couple knockouts, couple submissions.
Gotcha.
But I would say his grappling is probably his best.
Gotcha.
For a strong suit.
Gotcha. So your grappling has definitely improved since that Merab fight, and that was early in your career, and you got caught real quick anyway in that fight. But I think that definitely you've got confidence in this fight against this Magomedov. I know.
Oh yeah, I definitely got confidence. I'm gonna tear him up.
I love it.
I don't think he's gonna stand a chance in there.
I love it.
To be honest.
I like it. Now, when people go against these guys from Dagestan, Habib's home country, a lot of people, I think, at least fans, start thinking, well, that guy's got to be another Habib, right? And it's not, it's not really the truth. Hardly any of these guys, right, are as good as that. But where do you put this guy Magomedov as far as like a bunch of Habib's cousins or brothers or countrymen? Is he up in the group of the better guys, or kind of in the middle or the lower?
No, I feel like he's up in the top. He probably be the top 10 of the like Dagestani fighters. I would believe, just with his record and what he's accomplished. I would believe he's maybe even top five of Dagestani. I would put Khabib up there, and Islam Makhachev.
Right.
Also Khabib. I would say they're like the top 3.
Right.
But I wouldn't. There can be arguments he's like top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you think he would do if he went up against Merab?
If he went up against Merab, that would be an interesting fight, because I feel like they're both kind of grappler heavy. So But I mean, I kind of give it to Marab at this point.
Right.
Marab or his fights, they look like he's just got a tank.
Yeah.
You know?
The gas tank's amazing. Yeah. So this guy Megamed, so even at 18-1, you still have all the confidence in the world, as you should. But man, this is an exciting matchup. Where are you guys going to be on that card? Are you the co-main or third fight, or where are you?
You know, I have no idea. They don't put that in our contract, so I have no idea. And they also change them up on me a lot. So I have no idea right now.
Gotcha. It's got to be, you know, when you have a 16-1 guy against an 18-1 guy, that they better put you high up. I'm sure they will, and that's right. And that's gonna be exciting. Have you fought over at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut before?
Yeah, this will be well, this fight is supposed to be in the Forum in LA.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It is. Look at this. And you know what? Sure Dog got it wrong again. And it's because I can't believe it. Look at that. Unless they changed it, because Sure Dog is showing that as the Mohegan Sun, but all over the internet, and we're planning on going and covering that because we're based in LA. All over the internet, it's showing the Forum. So not to once again, but man, Sure Dog, I almost I almost wonder if they know that other media sources are checking out their references and they're gonna purposely put the wrong information to make us look silly, because this is starting to be a trend, man. This is starting to be a trend where they have the wrong weight class, the wrong gym affiliation. I don't know, man. Sure Dog, I'm wondering, man, if they know that. So we might even have to stop looking at them as any sort of a reference site. So yeah. So this is the Forum in Los Angeles. Have you fought there before?
I've never fought there.
And you are out of Texas. Were you born and raised in Texas, or where are you from?
Yeah, I was born and raised Houston, Texas.
Okay. And in the Forum, they will be allowing fans. So how many of your people do you think are going to make it over to the Forum? I bet you a fair amount, huh?
Oh man, I don't even know. I haven't even like asked. I'm sure I'll have a decent amount of crowd. I know a good amount of people in California, and I have a couple people that will travel kind of anywhere. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, we're gonna be there covering it, man. So we're hoping I'm sure we're gonna get to talk to you on the media day and everything, man. So that'll be great. And I know the headliner is that big title fight with the champ Patricio Pitbull Freire against AJ McKee out of Los Angeles. And you know what's interesting about that is Pitbull is from Brazil. I don't think he spent too much time hanging around LA, although you know what, come to think of it, he actually has a bit. He's a friend with Henry Cejudo and the management team, and I know their chiropractor is a real good guy out of LA. So Pitbull has spent some time in LA, but LA is the home of AJ McKee, and so that's going to be a hugely AJ McKee biased crowd. But I guess Pitbull Pitbull probably doesn't even really care where he goes. What's your opinion on that one, man? That's an interesting fight. How do you see that one playing out?
That's a super interesting fight. You know, that's a toss up. I feel like that's a coin flip because that AJ McKee is tough. You know, I had my doubts about his competition, but you know, he's shown up every time, you know. He's had an up in competition, you know, and he kind of shows up in the big lights. But also, Pitbull does the same thing, you know. Pitbull is probably arguably the best fighter, the Bellator, you know, in Bellator history, with what he's accomplished. So, man, I don't even know. My heart says Pitbull, but you know, I don't know. That AJ McKee is he's definitely a fun fighter to watch, and he's super good. Without
a doubt. Adam, if you can click on see entire fight card, I'm curious. I'm going to take a look, and I bet I can probably almost tell you what position you're going to be in. Okay, check this out. As of right now, they only have seven fights listed, and there's going to probably be more. But as of right now, they have you guys as the co-main event.
They have us as the co-main event?
Yes.
Me and Magomedov?
Yes. Yep. And
crazy.
Yeah, and you know, I really think that should be it, because they have former champ Brent Primus going up against a guy named Islam Mamedov, below you. Now, conceivably,
Oh,
conceivably they could switch that and put that above you because Primus is a former champ, and both those guys have a great record. But then they have your teammate below them as Emmanuel Sanchez and Burnell as fight number. So the main event is going to be fight number 7. They have you guys as fight number 6 as the co-main. Primus and Mamedov is fight number 5, and then Sanchez and Burnell. So you never know, man. I hope they keep you guys up there. I really think that there's a good chance.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then when they do have your fight and it finishes, are you allowed to go back into the audience to watch the main event? I know UFC is like really kind of hesitant. They don't really allow that because I think they feel too many people may try to mess with the fighter and like that. But how does Bellator feel?
My first fight, I was able to do that.
Right.
So hopefully I'll be the first fight I had fans and it was in Hawaii. I was able to come back and sit and kind of watch with my family members in the crowd. So hopefully I could do that.
I hope so. I hope so. You know, because probably they should even give you like a cage side seat. But you know, just curious, what's your thought of that? I think that UFC feels that some fighters, if they have a big victory and everyone's happy, are going to be happy to see them in the audience. But then they could even go bug a fighter they're happy to see, and all of a sudden everyone's trying to walk over there and touch him and like that. But then I think they're more concerned about people being mad, saying, "Man, I bet against you. You lost me all my rent money." You know, or right.
Hey,
or
alcohol brings out a lot of craziness.
Right.
You know, I think that's probably the main reason. You know, they never know what's gonna happen.
Right, and then especially the fighter that lost, that would probably be a bad idea for the fighter that lost to be out there, because then there's all kinds of hate. They could be going in there saying, "You lost me my paycheck and all this stuff, man, this and that." Yep. So so it's interesting.
And the fighter's pissed off already because he's lost. You know.
Right. Speaking of which, man, you see fighters getting into fights. Did you see that situation
Joe Schilling?
Yeah, with Joe Schilling. What's your thought on that, man? I'm really curious. Before you answer, let me set it up for people that may not know. So Joe Schilling is a longtime MMA fighter and also kickboxer, and he was in a bar recently, and some guy who was proven to be a guy who gets drunk at bars and talks trash said something to him. And then really quickly, Schilling hit him with like a 1-2 and just knocked him cold. I'm not trying to get you to talk against Joe Schilling, but what's your thought on that? How do you think you would react? And do you think it's okay if he did what he did, or where do you stand?
Yeah, when I watched the video, it looked like the guy kind of bucked at Joe Schilling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At that point, like in the street, I mean, Joe Schilling being who he is, it's like you never know, And it's almost, I mean, in the street, it's kind of better to strike first than be on the other end.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just because you don't know, what can happen. So, I mean, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Myself, I'm not as, quick to react. So maybe I wouldn't have done the same, but, you never know. He could have seen, because the video, too, I wasn't able to see the full encounter. I just seen him kind of, buck at him.
Right.
So, I don't know. It seemed like he, kind of jumped on him pretty fast, but, I didn't see everything.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a crazy situation. I know Bas Rutten, the legendary former UFC fighter and Pancrase champion, was saying he wasn't going to do that because he would evaluate someone if they seemed drunk at first, and like that, But, I mean, it is what it is. It's an unfortunate situation. Did Joe Schilling ever train out with you guys at Rufus Sport?
Yeah, I've never trained with Joe Schilling.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where Joe Schilling's trained. I know he was the Bellator kickboxing world champion. My coach might have trained with him because I've heard his name. But I've never trained with him.
Yeah. Have you had a situation since you've been a fighter where you've been in a bar and either someone's tried to provoke you directly, or there's been like a lot of pushing and shoving just randomly?
I haven't had one of those in a while. Actually, I haven't really been out since I've had kids. I've been kind of a hermit.
Right.
I go to the gym and then come home. But so yeah, I haven't really had those. I haven't had one of those encounters in a while. I used to have them a lot, but I haven't had one in a while.
Yeah. It almost seems to me that professional fighters maybe should be just avoiding hanging out at the bars too much. And I know they may tell me, how am I going to tell someone not to go out and enjoy themselves? But it almost just seems like, man, and like today, too many people are getting crazy. And, you know, if you're a professional fighter, it just seems like, man, it's just a situation. Putting yourself in a situation around drunks seems like it's just not a good situation, doesn't it?
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. It's not like worth it to me, especially like going out. Most times I go out to do anything is to like watch fights, and if I gotta hear random drunk people giving their opinion, it's just not as enjoyable to me. Also, if I gotta deal with like drunk people kind of posturing at me, that's not enjoyable too. So
Yep.
that's why I kind of stay out of that scene, but I'm also married, and usually there's girls at those scenes, so
Yep.
it's kind of hard when you're
Yep.
when you're single and you're trying to find.
Yep, without a doubt. Speaking about that, let me tell you a funny thing, man. I have a good thing that makes our show unique. I think I'm one of the only hosts that will stick in a funny story to tell my guests to entertain you, because I appreciate you. So check this out. It was about 2.5 years on our show. I'm not going to go on our show. We've been on for 4.5 years. I'm not going to mention the fighter, but it's the only episode that we ever took down the whole episode. My producer's laughing now. Yeah, so check this out. So we're recording a 2-hour show, and he was like the second guest or third guest or whatever. So we had 3 different fighters on the show, as we always have, right? And can you hear me there? Cool. Okay. So here's what happens, right? So we're in the middle of the interview with him, like about a half-hour interview, and then for whatever reason, like he turned his phone around or turned the camera around, and they're in a hotel room, and all of a sudden we see this pretty girl sitting there, right? And then he turns the camera back on, and we finish the interview, right? And then after the interview, he calls me up. And he says, hey, man, I can't have that girl on the interview. And I said, what? And he said, I'm not. Yeah, he said, it can't be seen that this girl is in that hotel room with me, right? And I said, you're right. And I said, oh, man. I mean, I said, it's going to be hard. And he goes, please, man. He goes, you have to take that down. And I went to my producers, right, and we didn't have the equipment then to, like, just do an easy edit, right? And so my producer's like, we're going to have to scrap the whole show. We're going to have to scrap the whole. And so we did, out of respect for the fighter, but I'm like,
I mean, I'm sure he's indebted now, though.
Yeah, I hope he appreciates it. He English wasn't his first language, so I don't know if he appreciated it as much as like an American fighter would, to know, because I tried to tell him, I said, man, we're doing this for you, but we're scrapping our whole 2-hour show, for you. And he kind of got it, but yeah, man. So I was always like, since then, I'm always like, I really appreciated that people, and I think for the next couple fighters, I said, hey, look, if you're in a hotel room anywhere, do me a favor, man, don't spin your camera around to show anyone that you don't want to be seen on this interview, because we will not take this show down. But that was, man, that's the funny time. The only time that ever happened, man, is like, that girl can't be on the show. I'm like, oh, thanks,
That is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm glad you like that. Yeah, that was funny. And this guy at that point was like a top 10 UFC contender. I'm going to tell you that.
Oh, man, he was like, no, you gonna ruin me.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
It was funny, man.
Wow.
Yeah, but hey, so let me ask you, other than this guy in front of you, Magomedov, who's very tough, and then your teammate Pettis, didn't Darion Caldwell come back down to 135, or am I mistaken?
No, he did. He came down his last fight. He just fought Leandro Higo.
Right, and who won that fight?
Higo beat him.
That's right. Okay. All right.
It was a rematch because he had beat Higo before, but it was kind of a controversial split decision that he lost.
Okay, so both him and Higo are still in the picture. So if after beating Magomedov, if they wanted you not to fight your teammate for the title next, but it was going to be Higo or Darion Caldwell, would you have a preference of which one?
I would probably pick Higo just because which I would fight both of them. In my eyes, I want to fight like everyone in the top 10.
Right.
So I think they got Darian right now at number 10. I think they got Higo at like number 6 or something.
All right.
Um yeah, somewhere around there, 6 or 5 or something.
Right. Is there? Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to fight. Either one of those.
Is there anyone
I think they got me at.
Right. Where do they have you at?
I think I'm at like 4.
Nice.
3 or 4.
Three or 4. Okay, 4. Yep, my producer said. Is there also? It looks like we lost video on you. Okay, is there any way you could hit that video button again?
Oh.
That looks like the line
Oh, yeah.
with the camera across it, and then we won't keep you longer, just a few more minutes. But we want to make sure we can get that video back. And it's just that it looks like an old. There we go. Perfect. Oh, we had you, and then it went back.
Is it there?
It was there, and then it went away. Now we got you. Excellent. Perfect.
Oh, okay.
So,
Cool.
is there anyone other than your teammate and Magomedov and Higo and Caldwell that I'm forgetting that would be in that top 5 other than you?
Oh, well, they have
Archuleta.
Juan Archuleta.
That's
just
right.
had the belt.
That's right.
And then Patchy Mix.
Oh, that's right. Those are both tough guys.
Yeah.
Who would you think when you get by? I know you're not looking past Mr. Magomedov, but when you beat him, who would you think, if it's not your teammate Pettis, out of those 4 men, who would you think Bellator would think would be deserving to put you against out of Patchy Mix, Archuleta, Higo, or Caldwell?
I would think it would be probably Archuleta or Mix.
Okay.
Probably Archuleta. Archuleta. Yeah, it'll probably be Archuleta. If they were to give me anybody, it'd probably be Archuleta, because they would probably want me to fight up if I beat Magomedov.
That's right. How would you handle a fight like that? That would be an interesting competitive fight, huh, with Archuleta, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're both kind of good at the same things, except for he's not a big kicker. So
right.
I just kind of, attack things that he's not good at. That's pretty much what I do with everybody.
That makes sense.
I'm at a point in my martial arts journey that I'm pretty good at everything I do. So I just have to fight him where he's not as comfortable.
Makes sense. Can you do me a favor and rate those 4 men in order of who's the best between Archuleta, Patchy Mix, Higo, and Caldwell?
I would go Archuleta, Higo, Mix, Caldwell.
Okay, but they all 4 are very talented, don't you feel?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you said Archuleta, Higo, Mix, and Caldwell. Okay, cool. All right, and so last thing, gotta ask your opinion on this big UFC fight, couple weight divisions above yours, Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. Do me a favor, if you can pick at the end, that would be great. But even less important than picking the winner, I'd love to hear your breakdown from a high-level MMA professional that you are, that maybe a lot of fans and people don't understand. What are some of the factors here that you feel we should look for, and that you feel we may or may not see, that will make this fight a deciding factor one way or the other?
I think as far as like boxing, I feel that what do you call it? Dustin is a little more diverse in his boxing and his like pressure, whereas Conor is kind of more rangy, and he's not as diverse. He's better from the outside. He's more like a striper,
counter
sniper.
Right, like sniper, right.
Kind of on the outside. And he'll probably go back to that, being kind of lighter on his feet and kind of keeping distance. He's very good at. I just feel like if it comes down to fatigue and things of that nature, Dustin has been proven that he kind of will go to the ends of the earth.
Yep.
He would fight to his dying breath. Whereas I don't know if Conor is willing to go there. So that's why I always give Dustin kind of the edge. he just seems to have more of a chip on his shoulder and more. He's willing to risk more.
Right.
I believe. So yeah.
You think he stops him again,
So
or you think it could be a decision? 5 rounds.
No, I think he'd knock him. I don't think Dustin knows how to just coast to a win.
Right.
So I believe it's going to end in a finish, and I feel like Dustin's going to come out on top.
And does it make sense that the odds are pretty close, or do you think Dustin should be like a bigger favorite? It's not even quite 2-1, Dustin, like less than 2-1.
No, I don't think it should be. It's not there. I wouldn't be surprised if Conor, was able to keep his range and trying to clip him on the outside. He's very accurate and very fast. So I wouldn't be surprised if he, kind of caught Dustin.
Makes sense.
That's how he caught him the first time, and that's kind of how the fight played out. Dustin, however, which I don't know. I mean, Dustin won the last fight, which probably changes his kind of outlook on the fight. But if I feel like Dustin approached this last fight more cautious because he knew how dangerous Conor was on the outside. So he attacked with kicks more. He didn't kind of rush him right away. You know what I mean? And so I think he's gonna do kind of the same thing. He's gonna kind of be safer in the beginning and then pour on the coals kind of later on.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel like he'll get him, because once he starts pouring the coals on, if he gets a chance to kind of let fights kind of turn into like brawls or just fights, then he's coming on top 9 times out of 10.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Great analysis. Raufeon Stots, let us know where people can support you on social media.
Yeah, you can reach me, Raufeon Stots, pretty much everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you, my friend. We look forward to seeing you in Los Angeles for Bellator 263. As of right now, shown as the co-main event against Magomedov, the man they call Raufeon Supa Stots. I really appreciate you coming on and talking with us, my friend.
No problem. Thank you, man.
You're very welcome. Have a great night.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews ad-free and help our channel grow. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.